Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
And this is a rewatch of Wheel of Time Season 1, Episode 4. Mm-hmm. The last time we discussed this episode of television on the interwebs, we had not yet read the books.
Yeah, we were like fresh babies to the Wheel of Time.
And now we have read the books. This rewatch will be full spoilers for the books.
Spoilers. We're going to talk about everything.
Yeah, when we get to Season 2, we will have unspoilered opinions throughout the reaction. Obviously, we'll put some spoilers at the ends of those videos. Mm-hmm. But for this, no spoilers full spoilers for the books for this video.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
If
you haven't read the books, don't get out.
The last time we watched Season 4, or Episode 4, sorry, of Season 1, I didn't love it. I love a lot of the Aes Sedai stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I did love it. I liked this episode. I remember what I'm...
You liked most of it except for the battle stuff.
I hated the battle stuff. And so, please, I'm telling you now, don't let me talk about the battle stuff too much at the end of this video. Okay. Because there's a whole video where I say why it doesn't look good. Let's stick to the other stuff in this video.
Okay.
Love that. I hope I like more. I feel like these rewatch, I've been a little bit negative. It's been harder on a rewatch.
It's one of those things where right now we're carrying so much weight between the show and just finishing the books and not liking how the books ended.
That's also true.
Like it feels heavier.
For those of you who haven't watched Book Club, we liked everything except the epilogue, and then the epilogue we really didn't like.
Yeah. Really didn't like. Which is fine. It is what it is. It's the ending that we got, and that's
there's a 3.5-hour video about that if you want to go watch it.
Yeah. This is not that video. It's probably linked below or in this playlist somewhere.
But I am finding myself being a little bit book cloaky, and I want to work on that because the Season 3 episode, I let the books really inform how I was feeling about the show.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need to be careful. I need to be a little bit careful. I think maybe we should have given ourselves a little bit of time after finishing the books.
Too late.
But we started the second we finished the novels.
Because we just wanted more Wheel of Time.
It's true. It's weird. I have a love-hate relationship with this franchise, and yet I won't stop consuming the content of it.
Yep. That sounds about right.
What does that say about me as a person? If you want the full-length reaction, go to patreon.com/nerdynightly. But if you don't, stay here, because you're already here. And we're about to rewatch Season 1, Episode 4, The Dragon Reborn. Hey, that's the third book in the series. See, we've read them.
Only going to say this one more time.
That
Full
looks
spoilers.
Great.
It does.
That shot looks fantastic. Yeah, this sequence is fantastic.
Yeah.
I remember why I liked the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's good shit in this episode.
And, like, I do think the way the taint is visualized is very interesting.
Mm-hmm. What does a crown mean to the Dragon Reborn?
Well, you're supposed to hold a couple. Logain is, like, full crazy here?
Yeah.
I wonder if Nynaeve heals his madness instead of what's-his-face's.
Yeah. Because, like...
Full book spoilers.
Full spoilers. Yeah.
Because he's much crazier at this point than he is in the books at this point.
Yeah, like... Damn, he even cleaned it for him. That's so nice.
Right? A little prestidigitation.
But I plan to bind it.
And in the darkness. Bind them. It's a banger opener.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's one of those things where I wonder if because Logain does get gentled.
Yeah.
If the show is maybe going to have that, like, reset the madness.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
Right?
Like the time away.
Over,
yeah.
And he remembers what it was like being mad and what that feels like, and having that, like, inform some of his character decisions later on might be kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah.
I just think it's tough because in the books we get so much of Logain's POV. And he doesn't hear voices in that way in any of those POVs. Right?
Not like that, no.
And, like, it seems like he isn't that far gone.
Yeah.
And so I'm with you. I wonder... I don't remember. Do we see him get actually gentled in Season 1, though? I don't think we do, right? I think it maybe happens off screen, but... No, they jump him in the cave. Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That happens in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. We haven't watched the show in a couple of years, and so I can't quite remember.
Yeah.
There's details of it that are missing in my brain.
Yeah.
That's my favorite sequence of the show so far, though.
That opening?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Really
mean, I
wonderful.
remember what my favorite is, but...
Yeah, it's episode 7. But so far on the rewatch, this is my favorite
this is-
sequence.
Yeah.
The war scene actually
Banger.
did some really cool, interesting visuals.
Mm-hmm. I find it hilarious that they all have to wear their color.
Yeah.
It makes it visually interesting for like a show, though. Like,
But I think that it would work better if they showed up to the White Tower and then everyone was in their color. But the being in their color out in the world where they're not safe, or like in this camp they are safe, but Moraine being in such a strong blue.
yeah, but people wear blue. Like Nynaeve is wearing green.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's I don't know how to explain it.
Okay.
Remember the first time we watched this and I was like, fuck, I love this girl. And I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you, you fuck. She is a character that gets into the colorism issues of the show, though.
Oh.
That's not Alana.
No. I was like, that's a lot. I was like, I don't remember that. No.
For some reason, I remember Alana being here.
Even then, we have to work in pairs.
This is a lot. Right.
There she is.
Yeah.
Right.
That visualization from the books is well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
No, this is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
This scene's great. It does kind of make the theory that she's shielded at the end of the season a little bit weird, because that's not at all what the weave that Moraine uses looks like. Or Ishamael, whatever he's calling himself at this point.
Yeah.
It's too early to be so tired.
One of you is swinging an axe, and one of you is...
Few Aes Sedai to handle them. And the Amelin seat, still seated.
It's a good joke.
I heard her threatened to fetch you too home, personally.
Yeah, for a little hanky-panky.
A booty call.
He's so hot. He's just so attractive. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Even Leandrin won't cross the Amelin seat. You worry more than you used to.
I sleep less. So I have the time.
That's a great line.
Mm-hmm.
They're great. It's sad that this is so short-lived.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Next episode is going to be real sad.
Yeah. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you sleep?
I didn't.
How do you think he's trimming his beard on the road?
It grows very slow.
You were wandering the Carlane Plain in rags, without food or gold.
Or weapons?
You're bandits, you're not very good ones.
We got separated from the trading caravan.
Is that so?
He's like,
Fuck, I'm not ready for Arm's journey in the show.
I know, he's so sweet here.
I know. That's gonna be a fun one though for him. Like, what a great... If I was reading the books and looking at journeys I would want to act out, that is a part I would love to play.
I hope the show at least gives him a better ending. Because that's pretty, nothing. You know what I mean?
It's
That
just
was
too
very
sudden.
disappointing.
Yeah. But the arc of it is cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
He has a little bit of a Pat and Fane moment.
Yep.
Me, you, Perrin, Gawain. Who else?
This 40-year-old man who It definitely cannot be.
Yeah.
It's like holding a cat in the bath.
He's not weaving right now.
What do you mean?
That's not how that works. Like, he can't... The shield stops him from touching the source, so he can't weave.
Right.
And they know that that's how the shield works.
Mm-hmm.
This is, again, where, like, the way they're explaining the magic isn't quite how it works.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
Not for a day or two still, when you're expecting it less. Subtle. One water would never do.
I hear you, girl. Fuck, wait, no, I don't want to agree with Alana. God damn it.
It's because the actor is so good.
She's so good.
I know.
His strength is more than anything I've ever seen.
Just you wait.
Yeah.
The end of this age is here.
The age of the orc has come.
I can't hear that without thinking of Brendan Mulligan on Game Changers doing Donald Trump being like, the age of the orc.
Yeah.
I get sick of the age of the orc. There's gonna be so much age of the orc.
But what if the dragon is supposed to be there with us, but we've let the reds gentle him?
It's a good what if.
Yeah. Yeah, they represent it more of as like a push and pull struggle as opposed to undoing knots. You know?
But how does that work with this version of Side In and Side R?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I don't understand how it functions with Nynaeve's arc. I don't understand how how you explain her block in this version.
Oh.
And I'm sure they'll find a way.
If you did, you draw that bow with your fingertips, not your fist.
Such a good detail.
Mm-hmm.
It is a great way to build up the like Two Rivers relationship with bow work.
Yeah, definitely.
Very smart.
Never did like this thing much.
I love his coat too.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of space in the barn.
Whose child is that? Like, it's not theirs.
Yeah.
All of Nynaeve's shit in this show would work better if they'd left in the night.
Mm-hmm.
She's so suspicious of Moraine and she has no fucking reason.
The red tent is open to all women. Feel free to join us for dinner.
They kind of frame it as though Nynaeve like really has the fucking hots for Lan and just hates Moraine because of it.
Yeah,
like about the water
no
bond and
there's no you kidnapped them.
Yeah.
She got back to town, they were like, oh yeah, they left.
You are welcome around our fire, if you promise not to shove him into it.
Their chemistry's great.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in battle? Picked up a weapon, a sword, bow and arrow, an axe.
Got him. Did they just do a weird, like, he stops twice?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah, that was very strange.
That's gorgeous. This show feels tighter in this episode than the previous three.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it feels like people have kind of settled into their parts a little bit.
Didn't the first three come out at once? Or am I making that up?
I think so.
Yeah.
Amazon does that. Or maybe the first two. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was three because we did all of them in one episode. In one Super Boiler chat.
Safe. At home.
With your mama and papa?
Man. In the books, it's like, yeah, with the greatest guy in the world.
Yeah.
I can't take your doll.
Oh, I've many more. Vicky has always wanted to see the world.
And she will.
And she has.
And they're going to be good friends. And they're going to drink together. And Matt's going to help her find all the ugliest men in Randland.
Aww.
Call ourselves Kleeman. Because a silly name makes us less frightening. Nothing is more dangerous than a man who knows the past.
Read your books, Rand!
Yep.
Get to the fucking library!
You better get Min up in here to,
We need to find Herod Fell.
Yeah, seriously.
Do you think he gets introduced in Kyrian in season 2?
Maybe.
That scene did a lot to explain. This episode does so much.
Yes.
I remember why I like it so much.
And also this scene.
Yes, the gays.
Except me, of course. I look fun.
I'm horny.
You know what Aes Sedai means in the old tongue? Servants of all.
It was a different time.
What does that make you?
Proud. And tired.
Duty calls.
We're exhausted.
You just see like a loading screen above Nynaeve's head.
She's like, what?
The three of them don't.
She's the meme of the, like, white blonde woman doing the math things.
White blonde woman?
Yeah, she's like...
I love that that's how you describe it. Oh my god.
I don't know. How else am I supposed to describe her?
Sarah Paulson.
I'm sure she has a name.
It's fine. I hope I'm right. Oh my god, if I'm wrong, I'm gonna feel very embarrassed. Yeah, I'm right.
Oh. That's her? Doesn't look like her.
Yeah.
I don't think the Dark One has any more idea who the dragon is than we do.
Nah, he does. He knows exactly who it is.
Not in the show.
Nah, he does.
You always get emotional when I drink.
Yeah, this episode's just great.
Yeah.
Like, this is the version of the show that I remember loving.
Yeah, for sure.
The Logain stuff at the top is so strong.
Well, we didn't have 3 weeks of the first 3 episodes, right? They were all at once.
Yeah, and we didn't know
so it was
anything.
So much information.
Yeah. But where, like, the first 2 episodes feel like rushed versions of the book, to me, this episode feels like where the show becomes its own thing a little bit more. And in that, I think it works better.
Yeah.
Again, people will live in peace and happiness for the rest of their days.
There's more song that, like, made plants grow, but...
Yeah.
You honor us.
Anyone can do that.
Anyone who's 6'4" and has your shoulders can do that.
I do what I can to forge a better world for her then, where she can enjoy the life she should have had with me.
I remember the first time we watched this. That was a great scene. Excellent stuff. I remember the first time being like, it's so weird that this world has one religion that everyone believes it.
Oh, the wheel.
Yeah.
The man that holds your heart.
Gawain Trakand.
You don't know. I don't even know.
Just haven't met him yet.
Leaf doesn't fight the wind. Sometimes the wind blows away from the tree.
I guess they're not doing the Tinker with a Sword prophecy.
Why?
Well, because in the books, it's like an insane idea that a tinker would ever pick up a sword. Like every time someone is like, a tinker's pick up a sword, no, there's no fucking way they don't do that, right? But because they've added the Amish like Rumspringa thing to the show, if there are tinkers that like at 20 regularly go take up arms to try it out, it just kind of, it takes away the like incredulity of that prophecy.
Right. Interesting.
That prophecy happens all the time.
Right. I hear you. Didn't even think about that.
It's just it's a change that like takes something from the real world into this world, and I get that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how it affects the end of his journey.
Well, here's the thing: the Tinker with the Sword prophecy didn't fucking matter.
Fair.
It just is a thing that happened.
I see you.
It's a great shot.
Yeah.
I feel like this scene really plays with the way the Fade's cloaks are supposed to work really well in that darkness up there.
Yeah. Because they can't just have the cloth literally, like, never move, but they...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, not doing this in Whitebridge is interesting, but there's so much emotion in that scene that it really does work.
Yeah.
Like, it's a change that I think is very effective.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Because Whitebridge just feels like a city. It's like Barlan, whereas here it's like Matt has like that connection with that little girl.
Yeah,
who
it
reminds him
doesn't...
of his sisters.
They don't have a connection really with Whitebridge itself.
Yeah.
Or anybody there except for Thom.
And if you're not going to have Bail Doman, you kind of get away with it here.
Yeah. Which we now know, like, Bail Doman is not even that important.
He's important to me, okay?
No, I know. And the books did...
The books didn't even, like, say what happened to him in the end.
Wasted.
He's around.
What happened to his aged grandmother?
She do be aged.
It's far harder to keep a shield on someone than to break out of it.
Nope.
Yeah, you can't break out of a shield if it's active.
It's like almost
Only
impossible.
If it's tied off.
No, you can. It's just almost impossible.
Yeah.
Which is why they don't even try.
And the women within it have stood for 3,000 years. Not because we do what is expedient, but because we do what is right.
The drama of this worked so well for me the first time we watched this scene.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't now, because this just isn't how shields work.
Yeah, but that doesn't negate, like, the drama, because it's how it works in this series.
I know, but how it works in this series creates some weird issues for the future. Where, like, how the fuck are they going to keep Rand shielded in the box? If they're struggling with Logain, the people with Galena are gonna be fucked.
Forkroot?
Oh, they introduced that early. That might be a way to do it.
Maybe.
You pray often.
Oh my god, the Aiel would kill him for that.
Wasted.
You're not exactly what I thought you were. A land Mondragoran.
And what was that?
A lapdog with 2 legs.
Now that they've established that he knows the old tongue, I kind of want him and Matt to have old tongue conversations.
Right?
Where Matt doesn't realize what's going on.
Yeah. Maybe that is how they will establish it.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
My wards. Looks like his army didn't run home to their mothers after all.
That was a fun visual.
Yeah.
That was cool. The warders in this show, they get tracked. They're barely giving these guys a warning.
Yeah, they should not have made it all the way to their camp.
They have not established them very well. They're within arrow range. Like, this just, like... In the books, Lan rides up and is like, there are Trollocs 6 kilometers away. We need to move.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, like, this is what I don't like about this, is, like, where are they? They're just in, like, a sudden forest that is not the forest they were just in. That looked better than I remember.
Yeah, that looked good.
Yeah. Maybe I was too hard on it the first time.
I think it's just that the sequence itself is kind of nonsensical.
I just don't like the geography of this just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Where are they?
Why didn't they know they were coming earlier, find a place to hold, and actually, like...
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, Leandrin says it, like, 7 full sisters, there's no fucking way in hell. And I think that if Logain didn't break out, there shouldn't be any way in hell.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, they seem to be, like, struggling.
Yeah. That looks fucking great.
Yeah.
You know what? The combat looks better than I remember.
Okay.
It is the geography that doesn't, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Why should I believe you're the Dragon Reborn?
Girl, you know he isn't. Yeah, this is where this just kind of becomes like shots of combat.
Yep. I forgot about the hat.
Yeah.
Good thing the thing was out of her stomach when that happened.
If they had just done this the first time.
Gentled him? Well, they're not supposed to.
No, circled the three of them. They would have been much more powerful than trying to individually shield him together. That visual's awesome.
Yeah, that looked fucking rad.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this really is the episode where like so much of the show finds its footing.
Yeah, and I seem to remember I need to do this. I said I was gonna do this and go back and see what we ranked the episodes in. Because I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive that we did that. I remember this one ranking pretty high, and I think I see why. Like obviously, like the explosions in the forest are kind of like whatever.
They look better than I remember.
Yeah.
Because in my like memory of the show, I was like, God, the end of this episode really is like a train wreck visually, and it isn't visually.
No.
It's a train wreck geographically, and maybe that's what I said back then. And I'm just like my memory of my thoughts has skewed away from what I actually said.
Yeah, things just happen kind of wherever, whatever. Which like it's not super specific, but it doesn't ruin anything for me. Like it's just kind of it's just not like I'm just kind of whatever.
I don't know how I feel about the way this episode ends. Like there's
the gentling or with what?
Just so many different things. Like the army managing to sneak up on this party is just kind of like what do you mean? Like what does
that should be like impossible?
It should. It's not like they're trying to be quiet.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like they're sneaking up at night. It's the middle of the fucking day.
Yeah, who's on watch?
Like these and like it's so weird because it like it's our first time meeting the people of this caliber who are supposed to be the best, right? And you introduce them as kind of being incompetent.
Yeah, like this whole thing should have been like the army gets like close-ish enough that like, you know, like they're not like a threat to like you know, the scouts aren't there yet, but like Logain like breaks out. Yeah. Like it should have been more like it should have hinged more on Logain, because like also like no one really gets terribly injured or nothing happens when they're fighting the randoms. Like a couple
of people do die. You know, the one red dies,
and then the other heals her, so she's fine. She gets 2 arrows, and the other one goes up and heals her, and she's totally good.
But they bury 3 Aes Sedai in the top of the next episode. I think 3 Aes Sedai die in this.
No, they said 7 Aes Sedai, and there were 7 in that last shot, right? It's only
they all got inside for that? No, because Alana doesn't come inside for that shot.
No, she's there. She's right there.
Then who's out fighting the army?
No one. They ran.
The army's just done?
No, they ran to the cave to Logain because they realized like they were not on good footing because they're in the middle of a fucking random forest, and then all the Aes Sedai are there.
It really does. This episode does so many things well. It really does, and I want to compliment it. I think all of the Emmonsfield 5 really come into their characters here.
Yeah.
I think this is where I'm like, oh, Barney Harris is delivering as Matt.
Yeah.
This episode, he gives such a like nuanced performance. I think Josha as Rand takes huge steps forwards here.
Yeah, definitely.
The Tinker, Egwene, Perrin stuff is still taking too... Like, that plotline goes on way too long this season and doesn't really do much.
Yeah, but
the best of it is here.
But it does set up, honestly, I think thematically, the entire series. Of the wheel and then the churning out and the I can't do anything to make today better for me, but I can do something to make the world better in 7 generations. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think that scene is really great.
Yeah.
I just think that like Perrin and Egwene get kind of, and Perrin, this happens the most to Perrin throughout the whole season. They kind of get put off in like there's a lot of theme building over there.
Yeah.
But there just isn't a lot of momentum there. They're kind of just, there's no tension. Their stuff is interesting if you like the world building.
Yeah.
But for their characters, Perrin is sad and isn't dealing with it.
Yeah.
And great conversations about that. But the stakes are so high in the other plot lines, and there have been no stakes in Perrin and Egwene's plot lines since Shadar Logoth.
Yeah,
and so the balance of the show feels off because of it. And it just feels like, oh, we'll get to them later. We'll get to what's
and we do next episode. Because they run into the White Cloaks.
Yeah, and
like
it does
everyone
get there,
kind of takes their turns.
Is that next episode?
Pretty sure.
Is that the same episode as the Step and stuff?
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
But when it comes to like the actual White Tower, which is what the series, I said this in a previous episode that I feel like that's what the series is made about. Mm-hmm. You know, like this is about the Aes Sedai and about the women magic world, right?
Yeah.
I feel like in this episode it made great steps forward in explaining the male half of the power.
Yeah.
I thought the scene with Thom and Rand is great, and Thom isn't like men can use side in and women can use side R.
Yeah.
But it's reasonable that that's not why would you say that?
Yeah.
The explanation he uses is the common people's understanding of shit in this world. And I thought that was great. That whole scene's fantastic. The way the shield functions and the way shielding functions is antithetical to how it functions in the show, in the books, in a way that like it does impact some of the biggest moments of the show, of the book.
Yeah.
Right? And in a way that I think doesn't actually, like if I was Sarah Nakamura, right? If I was the person who was sitting there and they were like, this is what we want to do, my response would be, you are creating problems that you will have to solve one day that don't need to be here. Like we can just do this the right way. And we can do this, like, you could have explained and had the shield work the same way that it does in the books and had the same, like, physical events happen in the scene. But because they've said it is harder to hold a shield than to push back on it, there are things later on in these books, particularly Dumai's Wells, which is one of the most important events. I think most people who have read it would agree, in terms of Rand's development, your main character, that, like, you have to now jump through some hoops there.
I mean, I just think that they did it to make the visuals easier, because how do you visualize a slippery knot?
No, but I'm not saying the visuals would have to change. But I'm saying that having Logain, I just think the like we're tired doesn't benefit this episode at all. There's no reason for it. It doesn't make this easier. Like, having the length of time you hold the shield be hard, and having, like, there's only 4 of us that can do it, or whatever. Doing all of that stuff, you don't need to add in the element that this show adds in of, it's hard because Logain is using the one power inside of the shield to push against the shield, which isn't how the shield works. And again, they've taken, like, the element of embracing side in, embracing Sidar, and not being able to touch the source, and that being an element of the shield, is important to things that happen, and is important to the whole is Moraine stilled or shielded conversation. But if Moraine has a shield on her at the end of the season, the way that they've set up the shield here doesn't, like, those two things don't compute anymore, because you have changed the rules of the magic system again. And I think that this is one of those elements where, like, you can't shield someone who is embracing the one power. It is almost impossible.
Yeah.
If they're already holding it. That is an important thing later on in this series.
Yeah.
And it's important with Elaine, right? In the sacking of Caemlyn.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of these elements that they're now going to have to come up with their magic system version of that.
Right.
That is going to keep pulling the magic system away from the books. And I think that I think that it's one of those struggles where changing things this early and this fundamental has a ripple effect. Yeah. And I'm worried about where that ripple effect goes in season 6 in terms of some plot lines that I think that a lot of people who love the books want to see in live action.
Yeah.
And are going to be like, well, okay, I guess we'll get a version of it that is just the show makes very different.
I mean, the show has never like really been the Wheel of Time. Like
that's a statement.
Well, we said that when we started reading the books.
Yeah.
We were like, it's so different, and there is no fucking possible way you could put those books to live action without infinite money and resources. Like, it is a actual impossibility. And like, when we started reading the books and we were also talking about the show, we kind of were like, yeah, the show is just kind of like doing its own thing. This is its own version of the Wheel of Time. And like, I really do feel that. Because like, the things that the things that we're not enjoying are more so that like, we're like, okay, but then how are they going to do these things from the books later on? But if it's not trying to do those exactly to a T, and it is coming up with its own solutions and its kind of own system and its own thing, like, it is like Wheel of Time adjacent.
But I don't. Here's my issue with that. I don't think it is explaining how it works well enough for itself to explain to me how it is different. It is just.
I mean, I felt like I understood it well enough when we first watched it without having read the books.
I always had a problem with the magic system, right? Okay. If you go back to those conversations, I was sitting there being like, what is this? Where does it come from? What is the functional element of this? And the books do a really good job explaining that. Like, as much as I don't think they get into it early enough, the answers, there's a textbook that the answers are there.
Which is hilarious because you were like, we didn't get to see enough of the magic and how it works. And
but I think eventually we did, right? I think that like in like, but again, like it comes late.
I was like,
it comes
book 10?
Yeah,
like...
yeah. No, but I'm saying like that yes. But
well, they're not at book 10 yet.
But I don't know how I don't know how you cover some of the stuff. And that's fine.
I'm just saying that in the books were very wishy-washy about their own magic system as well. So like, I honestly like don't fault the show for being like that this early on, because like the books were the same. And retcon stuff, like it's just
I think the show is going to either have to I think the issue that I'm having with the magic system in the show is I don't think it's very interesting. Like, I just don't think it's very...
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think it does anything unique in season 1, and it really could have been the draw. Like, I think that there's an element of the one power and the way that it functions in that world that could have been so unique visually. And because there's no embracing, because there's none of the visuals that are there. Like, women can see each other embrace Saidar without weaving. Yeah. That is a part of it, right? And it becomes...
No, they cannot see you embracing it.
Yes, you can. You can see someone... You can. When a woman sees another woman embrace Saidar, there are so many explanations of it happening throughout the books.
No, because there's so many times on the battlefield that our heroes are embracing the source but not weaving so they don't get seen. Because they can sense the weaves.
But they're inverting stuff. But there's also times where they are holding... There are so many descriptions in those books.
Wait, but they can't invert embracing the source.
There are so many descriptions in those books. I'm sorry, but I'm going to push back on this. Where they say you could see they were holding so much of the one power. Like, that happens frequently.
Yeah, but not if they're not actually weaving?
Yeah. They're just, like, taking it in. That happens. And they're lit up like a fucking beacon.
Yeah, but it's not just, like, touching the source.
Yeah, they can see when they've embraced it.
No, they can, like, sense the ability in other people. It's like a sense. They don't, like, see... Like, they can sense women who can channel and potentially how powerful they might be. But then again, that is also wishy-washy. And
we've read that very differently then, because because in my memory of the books, there are numerous times where people see each other embrace the source.
When Egwene is, like, in the fucking Sharan camp, when they, like, take over, she's, like, holding the source, but she's like, I can't weave because they'll see me weave, right?
But she's not, like, full of it. Right? She's like connected, but like holding a trickle of it in her, because she has to take it in to weave it out. Right? So the amount that she has in her lights her up more and more and more and more and more. Right? And so if you're holding a minuscule amount of it, you don't light up as much. That's what's going on there. But she's embraced it, but she isn't taking it all in. Right? And so if setting something like that up for the show would really, I think, benefit the show a lot. I think that it would help with all of this. It doesn't work with some of the stuff they've done, and they would have had to have changed like some of their visuals and stuff, and I get that. But I think that would have benefited the show visually. Because I think that like they just wave their hands and weaves come out of their hands doesn't feel like magic in the Wheel of Time. It feels like it just feels like a different system.
Then the problem is that you would have had to establish that everyone can see the true power, the one power being held and being weaved, which also it cannot happen because that also
what do you mean
fucks
everyone?
up with the books. Like because if we as the audience can see people hold the source and weaving, then you are just assuming that the audience assumes people can see that.
But you can explain that. You can explain that immediately.
But then how do you
can just have a character tell the audience that that's not true.
But then how do you show whose perspective it's from? Like sometimes you see weaving and sometimes you don't, and it gets very confusing as to like why you see what when.
But they're already doing that. That is already happening on the show. The problem that you're having with it is already a problem.
But no, we're seeing
at the end of this season.
Weaves.
At the end of this season, there is a flashback montage where suddenly Rand was weaving all the time, and we just didn't see it at the time. That's how they reveal he's the Dragon Reborn. Is they do like a flashback where when he burst the door down, there were weaves there, and when he put his hand on Bella, there were weaves there, and when him and Egwene are fighting, what's the Machin Shin? They reveal that there were weaves there the whole time, but the camera didn't see them because Rand didn't even know he was channeling.
Which is weird because we see Logain channeling.
Yes.
Yeah. Which goes back to our original problem with the show, which was the mystery box of who is the Dragon Reborn.
Yes, it is. This show doesn't want the magic system to have a like functional foundation, and so it just does a bunch of different things. Some of them look really great. I was harder on the... I still think the kind of like explosions out of the ground aren't my favorite visual, but they look better than I remember them looking.
Yeah.
And I will give it that. I think that the editing of that is rough, and I think that the combat just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, who is coming from what direction and why is in all of that really was very odd to look at, but it looks better than I remember. And I do want to say that.
Yeah.
They're just in a very, like, thick green forest, and then they're suddenly in, like, very white poplar trees. Like, none of the geography of that made any sense. No, but for me, like, the reveal later that Rand was weaving the whole time, but he didn't feel it, it gets weird, right? And maybe that's why they cut it. The feeling of embracing it can't exist, because then they would have to explain how Rand... Because that is how they get away with Rand didn't know he was channeling the whole time.
No, but they do that in the books. Rand channels several times without realizing he's embracing anything.
Yes, but in the books he has the Flame in the Void, and he thinks he's just doing Flame in the Void shit.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's similar. It's different, but it's similar in the books, where it's like he doesn't realize he's weaving because he just doesn't know what that's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's tough.
It's tough. Because there's so many things that they have to like just like make up now in terms of how this is going to function, and it might be great in the future. But coming at this for the first time coming at this, I think that watching the episode a second time, like if I watch it again in a year, I don't think it would bug me as much. I think it's because we just read the books, and there's so many moments that are so fresh in me.
Yeah.
That I'm like, oh, like these were the best moments of the Wheel of Time. That watching the show, I'm like, I'm holding against the show too hardly the checklist of things that I don't think can happen. Like I see something in the show happen, and I'm like, oh, this moment doesn't exist in this Wheel of Time anymore.
Right.
And I need to let go of that. And I didn't have that the first time. And I have it now.
It was a very different experience the first time. It was the only fantasy show, and we were just went back into lockdown, and we were loving having something to watch and to enjoy that was fantasy that we loved. Like it was a very different experience.
Yeah, and I do think that like I think that those first few books had so much specificity to them.
Yeah.
And I don't think the show is very specific.
Yeah.
I think it's a little wishy-washy, and even liking it. Like that's not me saying that it's bad. It just isn't. it isn't. It's sort of like Rings of Power.
It's
It
more
and
like
Rings of Power have the
generic
same
fantasy.
issue where
Yeah.
it's just it is a little generic.
Yeah.
And turning the Tinkers into the Amish is just a little generic. It's less interesting.
Yeah.
And
they just put in a real world thing to try and get people to connect or relate to it when they didn't need to do that.
It makes it blander.
Yeah, no, I
Like,
know. It did
Aram-
the opposite of what they intended.
Aram picks up the sword because he witnesses the worst fight of his life. But he doesn't pick up... Like, Aram was a devout tinker until the Battle at Emond's Field.
No, he was not.
Yeah, he was.
No.
Yeah, he was.
No, Isla made several comments about him, and her concern over him. When we meet him in book 1, he has the same kind of attitude here, where he kind of is a bit like eye rolly at the way of the leaf.
Some of the attitude,
like,
yes.
He is definitely not what I would call a devout tinker.
I would, in that book Aram, doesn't see a way out, right?
See,
he is like, I'm going to be a tinker, and that changes because there is an event that changes him. Here, he's like, I'm about to turn 20, and maybe I'll go get a sword and try it out for a couple years.
Yeah,
and so
I
that
disagree.
I think that having the Rumspringa version of this, where there is a version of Aram's life where he gets to go try that,
oh sure,
makes his choice later so much less impactful on him.
Yeah, sure, I agree.
He gets 2 years to go try it.
I agree with that 100%. I'm just saying I don't think he's a devout tinker. I think that through his life, he hasn't had a real moment to choose anything otherwise. He is a leaf, literally.
Oh, okay,
he's
yeah,
going
that's
with the flow. And the first opportunity, with Perrin, with Battle, with Emond's Field, with all that, the first opportunity, he's like, yeah, no, fuck that.
I don't think it's the first opportunity.
Yeah,
he picks up the sword
he,
the next morning.
Yeah, I think that is like in my mind how I imagined it. That's like the first moment that he really has to change his mind, and it does it immediately. Like, he hasn't been a devout tinker and held his ground from his beliefs through his whole life, through pain and through suffering. He's just been a tinker, and once he gets the opportunity to not be a tinker, he just kind of doesn't.
Yeah, but everyone gets the opportunity to not be a tinker in this world, in the show version. And so, yeah, okay, that is fair. He still does have more doubts. He has doubts in the books. And I shouldn't say that. But
I do think it lessens, like what you said,
Sure.
I do think that it lessens his choices.
And his parents being like, you can never come back.
Whatever.
And I'm like, what do you mean he can't come back? He gets 2 years to try shit.
Yeah.
Like, Aram could literally be like, no, my Rumspringa was the 2 years of the last battle. And, like, I get it. The Amish do that. And it's interesting. And, like, it fucks up their lives oftentimes. There are stories I cannot tell. They involve substances that are illegal. But it just lessens it for me.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
this version of Aram is like, what am I gonna do in my 2 years away?
Yeah.
Instead of being like, I'm walking away from my family forever.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is just like, you're creating a problem for your future self as a writer that just doesn't need to exist.
Yeah.
Like, that scene doesn't need to exist. Them having Rumspringa, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't make Aram's character more interesting.
Yeah.
It just does nothing. It is just information that is plopped into the show to have a scene that does nothing. Mm-hmm. And it's tough because the actual version from the books, until the very end of it, is pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
You have a pretty fucking good version, and you made it like 15% less good for runtime.
I don't know.
If you cut that scene out of this episode, it's still going to be a 55-minute episode. Like, it's not... So, like, those things are tough because some of this stuff is going somewhere that it can't go. Mm-hmm. And some of this stuff is going somewhere that it has to go. I don't know. There's tough stuff here. Mm-hmm. And there's difficult kind of questions that are raised in an episode that I think is the best episode yet, and that I really like, where the acting is the best, where Nynaeve and Lan's relationship moves forward in a really cool and fun way.
Yeah.
And their chemistry is so apparent.
Yeah, for sure. And her moment there where she heals, it just makes me wish more that in episode 8 that she was the one who like healed Egwene as opposed to the other way around. Mm-hmm. You know, because it seems more in line with her character. But
do you think the show is just going to not have circles in it? Do you think they'll
They
cut
just
the
said
idea
circle.
of that? No, they said link with me for that weave. Do you think that it will be? Do you think the show's going to make it like weave specific?
I don't know.
Because and this is what I was saying about they should know better. Because of the way the circles work in the books, and the way shielding works in the books, they should have created a circle, and then attempted to grab Logain with the circle instead of putting 3 shields on him. And they should have been circling the whole time because you can't burn out in a circle. And we know, no, there are circles because they circle in episode 8.
Yeah.
The 5 of them. So why not establish the circle here? Oh, because it had to fail. So, but here's the thing. This is the problem, right? They don't circle here. A thing they're going to establish later in the episode, later in the season, because the Aes Sedai, who we're meeting for the first time, have to fail. By not using the abilities we will find out later on this season they have and know, because these are the old ones who are supposed to be good at this, but they have to fail here. So they're just going to not use the thing that they will know about in a few episodes so that they fuck up and die. That doesn't work. That doesn't work for me. Like the writing of that, it just is like, why introduce the warders and the Aes Sedai as incompetent?
Yeah, it's also one of those things where, you know, in episode 8, they kind of, in the books, they kind of talk about like circling up being very difficult. Like
the trust of giving up the
like
power.
touching the source and letting it go. Yeah. Like that release of it being difficult and a thing that you actually have to learn. And they just like take 5 random women from the city.
3 of them not trained.
Yeah.
Or 4 of them not trained. Only one of those 5 women has been to the White Tower.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Oh yeah, no, Egwene and Nynaeve, who has a block and cannot channel easily and struggles with control issues more than anyone, circles up the first time, no problem.
Yeah.
It is writing yourself into a corner where the like important things these characters go through later, you either have to just retcon and be like, season 1 doesn't matter. We said some shit in season 1, you have to ignore it. You have to ignore that Nynaeve doesn't have channeling issues at the end of the season. You have to ignore stuff from season 1 in order for later plot lines to work, or they have to rewrite the rest of the show and have everything be different, right? And it's ripples in a pond. And some of my criticism and some of my like at the show comes from me being worried about those ripples.
Yeah.
And that maybe isn't fair to the people who wrote the show. And I don't know how to strike that balance, and I'm going to do my best.
Yeah.
I really am. I want to do my best.
Because like they might have thought about these things. They might have a plan. There might be something here that we're missing, and
I really hope so.
Yeah.
I really, really hope so, because I'm hoping. Look, we're gonna criticize the next 4 episodes, right? There's going to be criticisms of these next 4 episodes, and I know what some of them already are. Like rewatching the finale is gonna be tough. It's just gonna be hard, right? And season 2, I'm hoping that the journey of this, if you're gonna go on it with us, if our negativity, or not really if my negativity in this rewatch, because I'm being more negative than you are. Let's be honest, I am, and I talk a lot. I know I do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to you as well. She puts up with it. To be fair, she married me and she's put up with it for 3 years. So my talking a lot apparently hasn't driven her away yet. I'm hopeful that in being honest about my criticism going into season 2, that season 2 is going to be this breath of fresh air, and people will know that I'm being honest in how I react to season 2. Because here's the one thing I will say. I work for these companies sometimes, but I won't shill for them. This won't go on YouTube until after the strike is over.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be on an episode of an Amazon Prime TV show either after you see this or right before you see this. I have a relationship with these companies.
Yeah.
I am not going to shill for them. I'm going to be honest, and that's going to be tough sometimes. And it's tough right now because I love the Wheel of Time. I hate the Wheel of Time.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Yeah.
But I love the Eye of the World. The book was really clean, and the show could have been cleaner.
Yeah.
It could have gotten, and I honestly think I would have traded all of this Aes Sedai shit out for Caemlyn. I would have taken the time to introduce Elaine over this, because this, I don't know. It's weird. They've set themselves on a path, and I'm very curious to see where it goes.
Yeah. I am hopeful that there were considerations taken for certain things in the future.
We will see. We definitely will. And obviously episode 8 is different, but we'll get to that when we get to it.
Yes.
If you like the video, like and subscribe to the channel. If you don't, hit the dislike button. Leave mean comments down below because the algorithm god, she's hungry and we must feed her. This episode, that algorithm goddess is who? You usually choose. I don't know why you look surprised.
The one that died.
Is it? Oh no, is it Kendera?
I forgot her name.
Oh fuck, what's her name?
I don't know. They say it.
They say it one time.
Twice, maybe.
Oh, did they say it twice?
You know what? Don't remember.
Kareen.
Kareen.
Wait, doesn't Kareen?
Come back.
Wait. Isn't Kareen kind of important?
I don't remember. There are too many Aes Sedai.
Kareen Sedai. When does Kareen Sedai? Oh, she's the Captain General. Where does she die though? She's one of the searchers.
What does that mean?
Of the Dragon Reborn. She's one of the people Galena trusted.
Oh. Not anymore. Do something nerdy tonight.
She reportedly fell off the ship in the river Alguenia. Oh no, she's dead. She's from New Spring, not from she's dead long before the series starts.
Oh.
That's a fun pull. The Black Aja kills her. She's one of the people who dies in the Black Aja killing the people searching for the Dragon Reborn.
Gotcha.
In New Spring. Interesting.
Very fun.
Interessante. That's actually a fun thing. You know what? Let's end on a compliment. That's a really fun thing to pull into the show. Nice nab. Nice nab. Also, the visuals in this episode are actually pretty. They're much better than I remember. And the opening in Gildan is great. It's one of my favorite things in the show.
Yeah.
It really works. And Logain, the actor who plays Logain, is so fucking good.
Yeah.
He's great. Do something internet, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.